Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today we are going to take a look at all of the features and deliverables that had work starting in both June and July. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, and if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. So each month I like to put together a video that takes a look at all of the work that is kicking off each month and also finishing each month, just to keep us all more informed as to what work is going on in the background. Now, before we get to it, just because a feature on the progress tracker has work beginning or completing in a particular month does not necessarily mean that it will release that quarter, the next quarter, or even in that year, as there could still be more work required from other teams like the downstream teams, audio, visual effects, and so on. Or even priorities can shift and it can get pushed back until needed. It is, however, a good guide to see what could potentially come to the persistent universe when, but at the very least it shows us what work was being done at what time in the year. So with that said, apologies for its lateness, but let us take a look at all of the features that had work starting in both June and July this year. So first up, we have some new missions, kicking off with Steal Evidence. Now this mission, which is a criminal mission type, utilizing security post Korea, and tasks players with infiltrating Korea to steal files from Crusader security for a hefty payout. Now this mission in particular only had 9 weeks work that came to an end towards the latter half of August, so here's hoping that this mission is done and ready to get implemented. Also, with it taking place at Korea, with all the recent changes to how security can be called in if too many guards get killed, we could see players coming to Korea to aid and help take down the criminals involved. So for players taking this mission on to steal the evidence, I think stealth is probably the best way to go, but it is definitely nice to see more criminal missions starting to come along. Now the next mission is going to be a very important addition that many of us have been waiting years for. It is called cargo hauling, quite simply, and this isn't referring to the small-timed local delivery missions that we have now. This says it will make use of the freight elevators feature and will have players hauling large quantities of cargo to earn both Alpha UEC and reputation. Now when these missions got added to the roadmap, I was very happy to see this. They will be using the new cargo box sizes that are coming in with 320, and for ships like the C2, the Caterpillar, and even the Hull C, they will be very beneficial for making a lot more Alpha UEC hauling cargo on scale around the persistent universe. What I would love to see with these missions and reputation is the option to take a company ship, like a company Hull C if you've built up enough reputation, already full of cargo, taking it from A to B so that you don't need to own the ship yourself, like driving a truck for a company. And when it says reputation gains as well, reputation will be earned from not just the companies you're hauling goods for, but I think as well a cargo haulers guild. So we will certainly see more of the reputation Mobiglass app get filled out as time goes on. Right now, there is a lot of work going on for cargo, like building the dynamic economy, freight elevators as we've heard, and many new commodities coming along as well. And although 320 has brought a few updates to the hauling mechanic, these are mostly just to accommodate the Hull C. There are much bigger updates coming, hopefully towards the end of this year, if not into next. And the work on these cargo hauling missions in particular had a 20-week duration, and so will complete around November. The next new mission we have is called Steal or Recover Cargo, which could coincide with the cargo hauling missions. Potentially, I will speak about that a little bit more in a second, but the cargo steal or recover missions will see players recovering or stealing cargo from both derelicts or active ships, hauling the goods to an intended destination. Now, there is quite a little bit to unpack here. Firstly, these missions will cater for both criminals and non-criminals, hopefully in both circumstances, so stealing illegal goods from a derelict or active ship for crims, but for non-criminals, maybe taking on a pirate ship that's hauling goods and stealing it back. That could be a cool mission. And of course, recovering cargo after the ship has been destroyed and now laying as a derelict on the planet or in space. Now, what I would love to know is whether these missions will be somewhat dynamic based on the players and NPCs' actions. I know that this is the intention for the future, but for its first release, will these just be predefined, spawned-in ships once the mission is accepted, or is it more tied to the mission system? So if a player is transporting goods for a cargo mission, maybe a pirate will get offered to go and steal that cargo or some of that cargo, and if it is destroyed, then a new mission could pop up to recover that cargo. I think that would be pretty cool. Obviously, not every time anyone takes a cargo mission on. That would obviously be very horrible to have to deal with it every single time you're doing a mission. But maybe just for these potential high-risk missions, moving through dangerous areas of space with a very high reward so that you can hire escorts. We will see how this goes, but even if they are just spawned-in assets for the mission alone, that will be a nice set of new missions. And these steal and recover missions also had 20 weeks work that looked to have completed from the mission feature team early November. Now for the final mission, and this is my favourite, this is called Restoration Contracts. Now this says, utilising the repair functionality of the multi-tool salvage attachment, players are tasked to restore ships from bow to stern, patching up the hull, replacing missing or faulty internal components, and replacing weapon loadouts in the new salvage yard locations. So again, a lot to unpack here. Firstly, let us talk about these new salvage yard locations. Essentially scrapyards, which I suspect will also act as a location for owners of the SRV to drop off wrecks, and hopefully places where players can come to not just to sell their own salvaged goods, but maybe buy used cheaper weapons or components, or even a full ship that can be fixed up and then used for yourself. But regarding the actual mission itself, this I feel will be such a cool mission to take part in. Arriving at a salvage yard, seeing the ship in question all beat up and damaged and missing its components, then I will be writing out a list of what to do, the items I need to get, just to get it back up and running again. I am going to be such a fan of doing this kind of mission. I will certainly roleplay this mission as well, getting a pair of overalls on, not in real life, in the game, making a flask of coffee in real life, I can see where this gets confusing, and then getting to work nice and slow as the sun just moves across the planet that I'm working on. Cannot wait to see this mission in action. And now for the remaining features that kicked off in June and July, they are all based around the reputation system. First up, we have Reputation Hostility, which has work going on until November from the mission feature team. In fact, all of this is the mission feature team mostly. This will determine how AI interact with players based on the player's actions and standing with each organisation. And this is both legitimate organisations, say for example Kovalex or Shuban, and criminal orgs or gangs like Ninetales and Xenothreat. So basically, if you are in a various state of good standing with a group, you will be offered jobs or higher paid jobs or even protection. But this will affect many things in the verse for players, from missions to travelling through various locations and what opportunities players will be presented with, not to mention just better paid jobs. So an impactful system that will certainly help to further flesh out the reputation system as a whole, and giving us a good old grind to get on with. The next one is called Reputation Sandbox Triggers, which only had 5 weeks work that completed late July, and this will see players' reputation increase or decrease with the orgs of the verse, again based on your actions, but outside of directly doing a mission for them. So for example, shooting a gang member may decrease your reputation with the affiliated gang that you killed, but potentially increase your reputation with a rival gang. And this will dynamically change what missions are and are not offered to you at any time. So more in the background, but definitely presentable to the player, determining what we can get up to. And then finally, we have Reputation Shop Discounts, which probably speaks for itself. And this had its work finishing in late July and completing in late August. And as you can imagine, the more rep you gain with various organizations, the better discounts on their products you can receive. So as a secondary to this, or even a tertiary reward beyond actual pay and reputation gains. So a lot of great new reputation features making headway there since the mission feature team took control of that system. And although I'm not expecting any of these updates to come with 3.20, as I think it is just a little too late for that patch, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these maybe roll out with a 3.20x patch or a 3.21, if that is even planned, which at this time doesn't look like it will be. Which could be a good sign, but no more about that. Anyway, with that said, that is all of the features and deliverables that had work beginning in June and July. Some great new missions that I am so excited to try out. And of course, all of those important reputation updates, which just brings a lot more dynamism to whatever it is you're doing anyway. But with that said, if you do appreciate my videos, please do consider subscribing. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.